Hey, in this video, I'm going to explain whether or not you should buy backlinks in 2018 or at any time in general. My name is Nathan Gotch, and I'm the founder of Gotch SEO, and welcome back to Gotch SEO, or welcome back to my channel if you're watching this on YouTube. So, as I said before, I'm going to be explaining why you should or should not buy backlinks, and I'm also going to give you some actionable things you can do other than buying backlinks. And so, this video is very, very important for anyone who's getting into SEO or anyone who's trying to scale their SEO campaign, because it's almost a guarantee that at some point you may consider buying backlinks because of the first and most important reason that buying backlinks is a way to save time. So you might be wondering, how does buying backlinks actually save you time? Well, the first reason why buying backlinks or buying link placements on relevant blogs saves you time is because you don't have to actually go through the whole process of acquiring backlinks. And that process is pretty time intensive because, first of all, you have to find link prospects. You have to then validate those link prospects and qualify those link prospects. Then you have to build relationships with all of the qualified link prospects. And then you have to actually create an article for their website. And then that article has to go through an editorial process. And then eventually your link will get published. So there's a pretty time-intensive process that goes into acquiring links on relevant blogs. But in addition to that, that's just the process of acquiring links. You also have to consider the fact that you need to build out procedures, and you also need to train your staff to do it. And so there's a lot of time and resources that go into acquiring backlinks. And that's the main reason why people are willing to invest money into companies like mine, who can go out there and take care of this whole process so that they don't have to. And that is one of the main reasons why people buy backlinks, because it does save time and it does save a lot of effort, and it also saves a lot of failure, because when you're investing in a service like mine, for example, we've already put in all the time and effort into developing a process. And as opposed to someone who may not have a process, that could be a very risky approach, because you don't actually know if your process is going to work, and it's going to take a lot of time to refine the process. And so when you buy certain link placements, you are saving time and you're saving resources. And so that is probably the biggest reason why people buy backlinks. But the second reason why people buy backlinks is because you can get results a lot faster. And so obviously, if it takes a super long time to develop an outreach and a link acquisition process, and you don't have to go through all that, and you can just skip right ahead and buy a link placement, you're going to be able to get results a lot faster. And so those are the two primary reasons that people buy links. And of course, there are other types of backlinks. It's not just, getting links in relevant blogs. People build private blog networks. People build out Web 2.0s. People use 301 redirects. There's all kinds of things that you can use to acquire backlinks. But even if you took a gray hat method like building a private blog network, there's a ton of effort and resources that goes into building a private blog network. And not only just building it, a lot of resources go into just maintaining and managing a private blog network. And I know this from experience from my gray hat days. So no matter what path you're taking, there's still a lot of resources that go into either method, whether you're doing white hat outreach or building gray hat blog networks. It's still going to be the same issue, that you're going to spend a lot of time doing it, and you're going to have to invest a lot of resources into not only developing a process, but then also building out the system so that other people can jump into that system and do it themselves as well. So that is the main reason why people are willing to buy backlinks. And those are two pretty compelling reasons to buy backlinks. And that is the main reason why so many companies are purely focused on selling links, because it is a very lucrative part of the SEO industry, because people just don't want to put in the time to go out there and acquire backlinks or build a private blog network, because it is super time intensive. But now that you understand the two reasons why people buy backlinks, let me explain some of the issues that can come up when you do buy backlinks. So the main reason why you don't want to be buying backlinks, or at least make it obvious that you're buying backlinks, is because it's against Google's webmaster guidelines. So if Google does find out that you're buying backlinks and you're paying for links on any website, they can give you a manual penalty. And just to tell you from experience, a manual penalty is not very fun to get out of. And really any type of penalty is not fun to get out of. And that includes algorithmic penalties and manual actions. So when you buy backlinks, that risk is there. And it doesn't matter if it's buying backlinks from a service like mine, where we're actually doing outreach and actually building relationships. There's still risk in doing that. And there's also risk in building private blog networks. Any type of link placement that involves capital and paying for placement or paying to play is against Google's webmaster guidelines, because technically, if you're doing pure white hat SEO, you should be earning backlinks, and you should be earning them because of, you're building relationships in your industry. So, there's a fine line between focusing on that and adding some elements, push elements that help you to acquire links, which then, allow you to get natural links in the future. So, like I said, it's against Google's webmaster guidelines to buy backlinks, and so you should always know that that risk is there. And if you do buy backlinks, just know there is a possibility that you could get penalized. Now, like I mentioned, buying backlinks is buying backlinks, but it would be unfair to say that buying a link placement on a real website versus building a private blog network are on the same level, because obviously getting a link on a website that has real traffic, real engagement, real users is just a real website is going to be clearly safer than getting a link on a website that is built purely just to host a backlink. And so when you're looking at the two and you're trying to figure out, well, should I focus on acquiring links on relevant blogs or should I build my own private blog network? The clear favorite and the clear safest option is always going to be getting links on real websites. So at this point, you may be a little confused. You may not be totally sure what to do. So I'm going to give you 3 options that you can take when you're trying to figure out if you should actually buy backlinks. So the first option is for you just to roll the dice. And basically what that means is you can just buy backlinks, or you can build a private blog network, and you can just know that that risk is there, that you could get penalized. And so obviously, I don't really recommend rolling the dice or doing this in a haphazard way, because there are ways to buy link placements without being super obvious about it. And of course, this is not the time for me to be explaining how to do that, but that is the first option. You can just roll the dice, but you should always have that expectation that there is a small possibility that you can get a manual action if you go crazy and you get really aggressive with your link acquisition or link buying. The second option is to use a proxy site. So what does that mean? It means that instead of buying backlinks and hitting your main website, you actually hit a different website that links to your website. So you have your proxy website and then you have your main website, but you're only going to build links to this proxy website, and that's going to send the authority to your main website. And so that is a little bit safer approach, because worst case scenario, your proxy site will get hit with a manual action and your main mother site will remain safe in most cases. Now, I have seen situations where the proxy site gets hit and the mother site gets hit, but that's pretty rare unless you're doing really aggressive link acquisition. Now, of course, the third option is to just not buy backlinks at all and invest your capital into other areas in your business. So if you're just starting out with a brand new business, it doesn't really make sense to be investing your capital into buying backlinks, because there are so many other things that you could be investing your capital in that will probably get you a far better ROI. So what are those things? Well, you could invest in product development. You could invest in content, developing really great content assets, because at the end of the day, that's going to produce way better results and give you a way better ROI in the long run than just buying links on websites, because links can disappear and links could totally be discredited and wiped out of their value at some point. And so at the end of the day, content is going to be the thing that will stand the test of time. That is, of course, if you create really effective SEO content, but that's a good investment, is to invest in SEO content that is going to be evergreen and is going to continue to drive you results in the long run. And another thing to consider is to invest that capital into other forms of advertising or marketing. And so, for example, it costs approximately $1,000 to $2,000 to get a link on a really high authority website like Huffington Post or Forbes or anything like that. It's going to be very, very expensive. But you could take $1,000, $2,000 and put that into Facebook ads, and you will probably see a far better ROI on your money than buying one link placement on a high authority blog. And it would be very, very hard not to get leads or at least even get some sales from spending $1,000 on Facebook ads compared to buying a link on a website that probably isn't going to be super relevant to your business. And number two, it's very unlikely that people are even going to click through on those links. And so it would be a much better investment, at least in my opinion and in my experience, to invest in Facebook ads or what other type of ad you want to go for compared to buying link placements. If you had to choose between the two, it would make a lot more sense to invest in advertising because you're going to get way more out of that. You're going to get way more leads and maybe even get some sales. So just to put this in perspective, I'm going to give you a few things that you can do if you had a $1,500 budget and you were trying to decide between buying backlinks and advertising. So the first thing that you could do is you could buy 4 1,500 word articles written by a premium writer for that price. So that'd be about $350 per article. You could reach over 200,000 people on Facebook by boosting your content for that $1,500 budget. You could actually hire out 50 hours of web design and development if the company is $30 per hour, which is how much I pay. Or you could even hire out 75 hours of video editing. And so as you can see, there are many, many things you can do with a $1,500 budget that's going to generate way more positive results for your business outside of buying backlinks. Now, this is not to say that you shouldn't acquire backlinks and that you shouldn't buy backlinks in general. It's just to say that if you're a brand new business, your focus should be on other things that are going to generate results in the long run as opposed to buying backlinks, which are really just fuel on the fire of a strong foundation. So there's a ton of stuff that can be done in SEO outside of acquiring links. And so you really need to get your foundation built well. And once it's built well, once your sales process is really built up well and you have leads going onto your list, you have some ads running on Facebook, you have other things running and you have a strong foundation, then it might be the time to throw some fuel in the fire and start either actually going through the process of acquiring backlinks, or if you're willing to take a little bit of risk, you could buy backlinks and use a service so that you don't have to spend as much time in the process of trying to acquire links on high quality blogs. So that is all you need to know about whether or not you should buy backlinks. So if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. And if you want to get notified when I publish a new video, all you have to do is hit the bell button and you'll get a notification whenever I publish a new video. So thank you so much for watching and I will see you in the next video.